Hello, this is Max Drake. I'd like to talk to you about this program, Greenshot. Here's an example of how I'd use it. I'm doing a bit of modeling or something like that, and I've got a detail that I'm just trying to resolve a particular bit of a junction. I can actually just go Control Shift 1, which is my fast key for doing it. I can grab that bit of an image down through there. I can point out the problem through there. I can do a box onto the thing. I can go and add a little note through there, going blah, and then save that. And come into an email and just go write to somebody and just do an attachment, and it takes me to that image there, and I open up the image and link it in there. Bang, easy. It's got a nice little feature. If I just come into something like Excel, coming through here, Control Shift 1 again. If it's got this magnifier down in the bottom, so you can see if you're trying to line up onto a particular cell edge or something like that, and you do that. So when it grabs that sort of thing, and the other thing that it's got a bit of a highlighter through there, pretty standard sort of stuff in a way, and it's got a blur tool as well. So if you just want to conceal a bit of information, you want to send somebody your details, there's other details on there that you don't want them to see, so you can just blur those things out. Or with me, you'd have my image, and then we'd want to blur that out. Yes. If you do alterations, you've got to save them. So let's just go through and see. It's not in there, so I'm just going to close into there. If we just come in, it sits down in your tray, and the preferences on this, so you can choose your own preference. So if there's something that you want full screen menus, you just stick your keys through there, and I don't want you open at this point in time, and there they are, pop back up again. So you can choose whatever you want for those ones. I just use a captured region, and I choose the region that I want. It's got the language. The capture, it says show magnifier, which is something that I do use just to try and get a bit of an edge. It's got a storage location. I've got a default location, which is in my downloads, and it's in screenshots, and it automatically can give a file name, and I think it's based on the program that I'm in, and then I've got year, month, day, hour, minutes, and seconds. And the reason why I put the seconds in there is if I take another screenshot 5 seconds later, it's got a different date. So it like I've changed the hue on something, and I suddenly decide that I want something slightly different. I tried it out, and here's what I want. I've still got the earlier one as well. And then what it does is that it's a destination. It saves directly. So as soon as I do that capture, it saved a copy of it inside that screenshot subdirectory. And it also opens it in the image editor if I actually want to start adding things to it. So straight away, I've got the image there that I can actually play with. And then I can do an image of an image if I want, if I'm going to go mad on those sorts of things. Now, few things that do. Now, the reason I'm a bit of a slob in the way that I actually work, I tend to have everything inside downloads. I tend to work from downloads because I'll be pulling down, I'll be doing something, doing a bit of modeling a bit of a building or something like that, and I need a U family, and I get it offline or something like that. So a lot of times I'm actually pulling out programs, testing them out, so I actually keep everything in downloads. So I have a very messy downloads folder. I don't like the documents folder. This is where I actually do my work. Then a couple of times a month or something like that, I go through and do a whole lot of clean out. But it's the one place where I just work everything, and so when I get junk coming through, I know where all of those things are. So that's just my process of working. But what I was actually finding, because I take an awful lot of screenshots because I'm doing blogs, or I've got my COVID blog where I'm doing about 5 screenshots each day of just relevant graphs and things. I find I get a whole collection of screenshots. So what I actually do is I have my screenshots in here. If there's something that I particularly want to keep, I'll actually make a folder and shove some of the stuff into there just so that I can keep it for later. Otherwise, it all gets pushed into this screenshots folder. So I'm just going to do a couple of other screenshots and things like that just so that I've got a few around. So so I have this process of when I know where the screenshots are. If I'm doing an email or something, I can actually quickly go and get that thing, so I can actually just go email somebody about a particular issue. I just go I just go attach, and it automatically opens up into that subdirectory there. So I can grab it, bang, off I go. Boom, there. I've got it. Don't have to think about where to search for things. I know where the screenshots have all gone. I don't have to filter down all the time because I've got that particular directory of when I actually just go in there. As if I just go back in, I've got it in reverse order. So if I just go right and I've got attach, you see reverse order. So the latest thing is showing up straight away. So it's assumed that the latest one is the one that you'd want. So you're not scrolling down all the bottom suddenly thinking, where the hell is everything? You've got it set up like that. So that's quite handy. It's sort of, you're not wearing yourself doing simple exercises. The other one that I actually do a bit is that after a while it junks up. Now there's another program here, and I want to talk about this program. I think this is a wonderful program. It's called Febooti Automation Workshop. Now, it's actually about $350 to get it. The software itself, you can go and do a trial on it, and there is a trial available for 15 days. There was also a free version. Now, when I actually just went up to do a free version, now if you just note on here, this is Febooti.com. So this is the proper one. They used to always have it so that you can actually, if you just wanted it for personal use, they were getting it to lock you in, because I think it's a phenomenal program. But if I go, there's this for AutomationWorkshop.org. If I click on that, I'm getting dangerous website blocked. It's actually saying this is a known dangerous website. There's a few other ones, but anything to do with it seems to be. But just recently I downloaded, and now I think about 6 or 9 months ago, I downloaded it from somewhere and it was fine. Now, I just want to go in and show what this thing does. So what I've actually got is I've got one script here. And if I just go into the script here and let's just look at the actions. The actions is move. You see, you can do a whole lot of other actions with files, with folders, with compression, with multimedia, print. It's a very smart program. On this particular action, the trigger that I've actually got is on Windows Startup. So when it starts up, it goes through and does this. Now, if I run that, it'll actually just take all of the files that I've got out of my screenshots one. So if I just go into my screenshots folder, you'll see they've all gone now. And all I've done is I've just moved them to my old screenshots, just in case I might need them. So it's almost like I've backed them up for a day, and then if I haven't used them, I blow them away. Then if I'm not going to use them, I just click on this second one, which is delete everything out of that folder. I've also got some other ones, is that because I do a lot of downloads, I'm downloading executable files, I'm downloading zip files and things, and they start junking up my downloads folder. So I've got a couple of scripts that move these into and it's just gone null there because there aren't any, because I just did this briefly, where I just move all of the zip files and things like that. And if I just go into downloads and I just do that the right way around, what I do is I push all of my executable files, and then I look at them later and I suddenly think, do I want to keep any of these? You know, one might be a model of certain things, a sofa or something like that I want to keep, or something like that. Other ones I suddenly think, no, I've got Git desktop, I don't want that, so I can delete them. Or if there's certain ones that I actually want to keep, I can actually put them in a zip save. Now, one of the things that I found was the Automation Workshop, the free setup one that I got. So I've talked about this program. Where I got it was, I don't know whether I got it from this org site or not, or whether it's turned dangerous or not, but I've actually put a download link onto my drive. So if Febooti get annoyed with that and tell me to take it off, but it is only for personal use. I use it for personal use, and I think it's a fantastic tool, and it can do some quite great automations. I don't really generally use them for too many, but I do find it's useful. So after talking about that workflow that I have now, there are alternatives to something like Febooti. You could use Task Manager, which you can actually get to run a little batch file, which would go and delete all the files in a certain area. So you could do it by batch file. You could do it with something like Phase Express would be another automation tool that you could use. You could use also something like Task Manager within Windows, and you could use Task Manager and I'm thinking auto hotkey. You can actually have an auto hotkey script which would do that as well. This is just the one that I sort of played with and I found it used, and I got a couple of things and tools and stuff that I do with that. One that I've actually got, a lot of downloads you actually get, especially zip files. You download the zip files, you unzip the zip files, you go to actually run that program or something like that, and it won't run. Because what it's actually done is that on downloading, Windows can be a bit suspicious, and it puts a block file into that zip file. Then you've unzipped it all, and then suddenly you've got 15 .dll files, which are executable compiled files that you can't get access to. It just suddenly says, no, this program won't run, and it won't run because the zip file was blocked. So when you unzipped, all of the DLL type files were all blocked as well. So I ended up with making a PowerShell unblock, which actually runs, I think, a batch file or something like that, and just unblocks all of those files. So I found a few other ones and things, but basically just file moving things around. So I did do another video on a program called, I think, Drop It or something like that. So you drag that to a certain place and it knew where to put those files. This is just the process that I work through, and I actually quite like the way that I've got my image files in a place, because I use images files all the time just for moving around, and this is a great way for processing. So if you've got a bit of money, maybe think about somebody supporting this, because it's a phenomenal tool. I also use it on my server. So I've got a VPN that's in Germany, and that server seems to get infected with Bitcoin ones all the time. So what I actually do is I actually got this one here set up for an automation, so that every day it goes and runs Defender. And it just does it at a particular time, and then it just clears everything out and quarantines and stuff like that. They've got some examples, some task examples of some quite intelligent things that you can do, and the thing. But generally, the ones that I do, I don't use it. I use it about once every 3 weeks, or I go in and start looking, and I can't find files, or I find that I've got a bloated directory or something like that, and I just go and blow everything away, or just move everything around and just tidy stuff up. So great tool, I mentioned it, but this was really about this Greenshot and just the way that I use it. And I just find one thing I do find, it can be a little bit buggy. I'll come to an old image and sometimes it won't open up, so I'm forced to come to this point here, and then go and open a previous file, and then it works. Sometimes it just shows you the icon. Also, you end up getting with a hell of a load of them open, especially if you're doing a lot of screen grabs as you're working during the day, and just do close all windows, and that works perfectly. So it's just my process for using images a lot, because I find they're great for explainers. If you've got those, you don't actually have to use paragraphs and paragraphs of words, and it works for my work style for design stuff. You found an image, or you found a website, and you may be pushing to a client and suddenly saying, well, what about these sorts of product, or you wanted an umbrella or something, quickly flick them around. So that's something to use. I hope that's of interest to you. I'll put the link down below for Greenshot. I'll give you the link to the Febooti site as well. I'll give you a link to the actual program itself, which is an exe file on my OneDrive, wherever I put it. I've closed that down now. And but that may end up being delinked, and if it is, I'll actually put a note. But if Febooti say no, they don't want me distributing their software, but it was free software and it's only for personal use, so please be aware of that. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, please give a thumbs up. Otherwise, I'll pan your heart.